I've been talking to customers of ours, and we're both seeing a very similar theme. And that theme is they're losing a ton of money with really simple and correctable inefficiencies between their tech teams and their finance teams. There's always been a little bit of misunderstanding there. So today on Lead with Tech, I want to talk about bridging that gap and creating more savings and more, open conversations around budget and need as far as resource goes for the IT teams.
So when you're saying misunderstanding between finance and technology teams, what do you mean exactly, Gil? Give me an example or context for this.
The technology teams and directors of technology and VPs, CIOs, and people like that, they really need a lot of things, and they struggle constantly in conversations that I have getting the money that they need for the things they need. And then on the flip side, when we talk to CFOs and financial leaders at those companies, they just see the line items there, and they really want to understand better what these things are for, how this is helping us as a company grow and progress. And there's just kind of a disconnect there. I feel like sometimes what they get back is maybe a little more technical jargon than they're used to or really quite understand. And it creates kind of a chasm there between the technology departments and the finance departments.
So we need to set up the context first. The context is that in most companies, CFOs have no idea what those IT budget items are and what they do.
Yeah.
And they're not given the clarity. Second thing is that they are always striving to save money for the company, as they should be. That's the CFO's
their job. Yeah.
Yes. On the other side of the equation, we have IT that needs to ask for more money if things go south, but also they are so busy maintaining their current systems and working on their own projects that sometimes, many times, really, they overlook things that could be automated, could be eliminated, are redundant, and are sucking the blood, out of the company money-wise, and they should be taken care of to save money for the company, but they just don't have the time or capacity to look into those things. And those two problems, they overlap, obviously, and they need to be solved. So how do we do this? The first thing that you're doing some kind of an efficiency audit. Like that's what you need to do to find those things, right? And if you don't have the capacity as an IT organization to do that, then you're using a third party. For example, it's one of Techery's services that we typically do for our clients, right? Is that we come in and we work with both CFOs and IT directors and CTOs, and we typically find very patterned things that save companies a lot of money. And how much money I'm talking about? If your company is doing $100 million or $150 million, your IT budget, if you're not heavily innovating, if you're not heavily investing into technology, your IT budget should not exceed 2 or 3% of that revenue.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. In most cases that we deal with, that IT budget is 5 to 7%, which tells us that there's something that could be cut out, that should be taken care of. And those things are, again, typically very similar. Sometimes not, but many times they are similar. And the moment when the CFO sees the results of the report, for example, where you could safely cut out $1.8 million from the IT budget, and the CTO says, yeah, like that makes sense. And when they're both in the room and you're presenting the solution and the report and they're looking at the numbers, it's staggering because that's 1.8 million that could be spent elsewhere in the company, right? Even for bonuses and compensations, most of the time it's marketing and whatever, but it's a lot of money. That's the point. And it's just sitting there. And every company has that waste. But because every department typically works at its limited capacity, and IT is one of those departments that never has people sitting on the bench just waiting for work. They're not a service company. Yeah.
Right.
It's a department. So you hire for the job and the person is always busy. If you look at schedules like calendars of CTOs, it's crazy. Like they're triple booked. You can never, they could never even squeeze a 5-minute meeting with you as a vendor, for example,
Yeah.
because they're
Right.
always super busy. And they know that they have that problem. It's not like God came down from the mountain and gave you the news that you've never heard about. No, they know that they have that stuff, but they just can't take care of that. For CFOs, this could be news because CFOs struggle with two things at once. One, they're looking for ways to cut, but they don't know where. And the second thing is that whatever IT is asking or whatever is in the IT budget, they don't understand. So it's very important for companies who want to move forward, who want to grow, to have this clarity, to have this ease of communication between departments. And sometimes I know that like some companies, their IT departments purposely make those reports overcomplicated for CFOs and for finance because they just don't want to spend the time to explain all the intricate details of how all those things are interconnected, blah, blah, blah. But it is important for all departments to speak the same language and to understand the same thing. Sometimes, in very small percentage of cases, there's a full play by the IT departments when there's something shady going on and they just want to hide those things. And obviously,
Or they just don't want to lose their budgets.
or they don't want to lose their budgets because the psychology of budgeting, as we know, is very simple. If you haven't utilized your budget for this year, then next year you're not getting the same budget, you're getting a smaller budget. Even though you may have plans to use more and to develop more and whatever. But again, the concept of this video and the point of this video is that there is definitely things that could be eliminated, that are redundant, that are old school, could be automated in your IT budget right now, in your organization right now. They could save you millions of dollars. This is the point for the CFOs, that IT budget would be one of those spots where you should look. And for IT people, for leaders, for CTOs, the point is that you know that you have those things. You might not know them like off the top of your head. You just know that those things are there and you need help eliminating them as well. You just don't have the capacity, so use help. It helps both IT and finance.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. It's the CFOs get a win because they find all of this savings. And at the same time, this really benefits the CTOs and the IT department. It makes everyone a winner because when there's more money to go around, that also frees them up to really consider innovation and really consider being able to more accurately hit certain deadlines and things that they have, because there is this influx of savings that they've now found. And the CTOs and the CFOs can both be winners here.
So how easy is it? It's not easy. There are things that are on the surface, like servers, AWS, whatever, like other things that are redundant, that are not being utilized, like Cisco phones, I don't know, whatever. There are things that are on the surface that could be eliminated. But also what this review does is that it provides the whole blueprint of the whole IT operation, including recommendations on how to run your processes more efficiently. And there is even more cost savings in more efficient processes or product development processes. So those things are very valuable typically for the CTOs and CIOs. And I urge companies to use those because you know how easy it is to live in your own bubble, to live in the world where you're right, to live in the world where the things are just like this, they've always been this way. But that's not true. Things have always been that way because you've been doing them this way. There are ways to make things a lot more efficiently. And that review and that report provides that opportunity to get a fresh perspective of how your operation runs and to see if maybe there are ways to do things a lot more efficiently, better, faster, with more quality. And for CFOs, obviously, it's just another way to better understand IT budget and better understand the source of savings, especially if you're doing more than 150 million, then we're talking about millions and millions of dollars that could be saved.